Well, surprise. You didn't expect to see this. And then again, if you know me, you probably did expect this. Oh, a few days ago, I turned 60. And while I was preparing to celebrate, one of my dear friends just collapsed and died of an aneurysm. And then perhaps during the process of my preparing for my party, another friend of mine who I went to university with died. And I had decided that I was going to share with you on this day, whenever it came, and I don't expect it to happen anytime soon. I think me and God got some plans for me, but this is a good time, I thought, to share with you where I am right now. I know lots of things that I did in my lifetime didn't make sense to most of you. And then those of you who are like me and see life as a journey and death as a part of that journey, you get why I did some of the things that I did in relationships as it relates to a livelihood, because I knew, and I've always known that God had a special plan and purpose for my life. And there's nothing that I've done in my lifetime that I regret. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Stupid stuff I've done. You know, I love that word, Fran. Stupid things that I've done. Relationships that I thought were basically, later after I grew up or learned better, that I got out of. Even those were all fine. Good friendships, whatever. I said something out of the way. I did something that I regretted with a friend of anything. It's all been purposeful, and I wouldn't change a thing, because I learned something. And that, if you know me, you know the most important thing in my life is teaching and learning. Now, I guess we can add being self-reflective and serving. All those things are part of who I am. And so as I probably am watching you right now, we don't know. I will know at the time, but you don't know. I've lost people. I'm with my mother and my brother and some cousins and grandparents right now. I'm enjoying where I am. I am at peace where I am. I know that right now. And so I will invite you, those of you that are down there or over there or whatever your proximity is to where I am. Probably the biggest message that I have learned this year is, does this really matter? That's my message for you. Does this really matter? The thing that you're so bothered by, the thing that you think is just unspeakable, the thing that you just cannot get over, the thing that you think that has ruined your life or your relationships or whatever you think is so important. You have to ask yourself, does this really matter in the larger scheme of things? $1 and $1 million in the spiritual world is the same nothing. The same nothing. I love this story of, they tell about a rich man who died. Wealthy man who died. And somebody asked the question, how much did he leave? And some very wise person said, everything. And that is the bottom line. So if we take nothing with us, if we lose and leave everything, then while we're in the land of things, what really matters? Does it really matter how much you weigh? Now, it can affect your health. I know that. It doesn't look so hot to people who, like me, who are always exercising and trying to find some better way to look good. It doesn't look so good. But still, in the larger scheme of things, what really matters? What really matters? And I want you to think about that. You know, I just have to dwell on the physical. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I prophesied this or if I just knew it was going to happen one day. But I was just so afraid that it would happen, that it happened. I really don't know. Or maybe by now I do. Well, I'm coming to grips with it in some different kinds of ways, but I'm not definitive about whether the vitiligo was something I was so afraid of that it happened, or that I knew as a child that one day that was going to be me. I do know I've learned lessons from this, because you know me in my life, that's what I do. I learn lessons. And I can say that was a dumb thing I said to Rochelle that time when I wouldn't stay around in New York so she can come to New York and get in the city and have a good time. That was awful. Rochelle, you know I love you. If you listen, if you're here with me, we're laughing about it. If you're there, if you're there with them, we're laughing about it. Because I love her so much that I could not acknowledge my selfishness in that time. To me, I don't know why that seems like it's the worst thing I've ever done, but I'm sure I've done some worse things than that. But that just feels like such a terrible thing to do, somebody that you know loves you, and that I knew loved me, and that I love. So I digress. So I want to invite you to ask yourself, I'm thinking about LaToya, who I am pained by some of the things she did to Micah when Micah was just a baby. And I am calling a family meeting in the next few days, because while I don't expect us to be like this, I will not leave this planet not having had a conversation with her and my son, who loves her, and her daddy, who loves her. I won't leave this planet without doing something about that. And I can only do my part, which has been my struggle in the whole world of relationships. Moms especially, wives especially, we think if we just do the right thing, raise some great kids, be a great homemaker, lover, all those things, that life is going to be just fine. But alas, that's not the case, because it takes two, at least two, in a relationship. There are two people involved. So what matters? As hard as we try, we can only do our part. That was the message I was getting to right there. We can only do our part. And so you may say right now, I'm going to call my daughter, my wife, my ex, my step, whomever, and say, I'm sorry. It's still up to them to forgive you or forget it. And I truly mean forget it. Because that we say you can't forget, but yes, you can. You know why? Because you want to. Because if you really want to live at peace in the world of things, then you want to let go of some crap that you can't do anything about anyway. I was going to say anyway. Anyway, you can't do anything about it. Am I teaching? I'm just teaching you what I've learned. And what I've learned is that people are more important than things. Yes, than dogs. And I can go off on that. People are more important than money, because it's just paper. Gold is just a metal. And all these things we have assigned meaning to, because can't any of them change the fact that one day you're going to be me. You're going to be right where I am. And quite honestly, I think there's only one place you can be when you die, and that's where I am. But that's just me. And that's just me fighting the power and acknowledging that there's so many ways to get to this place. And what really matters in the larger scheme of things is that in the land of things that you loved and you appreciated and you spoke the truth and you lived the truth as best you could, and you acknowledged when you weren't. And then you sat back and you paid attention to things and you asked yourself, does this really matter? Does this really matter? Can this save a life? Can this save my life? Can it change what has already happened? Can it? And if it can't, as a therapist who spent most of my life making sense of people's circumstances and their relationships, let me just say, Miss Postmodern person that I am, that yes, it was a terrible thing that happened. It was a terrible thing that I did. But you have an opportunity in this moment, right this very moment, this second, right now, to change all of that. And you change it by starting right here. You decide that in the larger scheme of things, this does not matter. It is stupid. And it's not going to change whatever awful thing some man, woman, boy, or girl did to me when I was 2 or when I was 20 or when I was 16. I know I sound like I'm insensitive. I spend most of my life being very sensitive to people and the trauma and the stupid things they do to other people. But when you look back and you sit back and you think about what is really important, you have to ask yourself, right now, right this minute, does it really matter? Will it change anything if I spend my whole life grieving or in pain or getting sicker and sicker because of what somebody else in their humanity, I start to say ignorance and stupidity, but in their humanity, which is kind of almost the same, but anyway, they decided they wanted to do to me or to you. I think I land this plane with just one thing. I know I'm not going to sing, even though I kind of feel like it. I'm on the Forever Young thing. And I like the song, where Go to a Land Where You Never Grow Old. I think those go together. Forever Young and Never Grow Old. This is Deborah. This is Deborah Ann. This is Dr. Nixon. This is Dr. Harris. This is Deb saying to you, consider what really matters and then change the way you respond to what has happened, even what might happen. And you can do that in this very moment. I owe that to Dr. Eckhart Tolle. I love you all. You've got to know that. I hope you're still awake after this speech of mine. But I'm just fine, y'all. I'm just fine. I'm all right. And may you be well as well. Remember one thing. Remember, Nikki Giovanni said, when I'm gone, remember I smile. I'd like to say, when I'm gone, remember I danced. See you on the other side.